Jewish identity, by which I do not mean the formal recognition of who is a Jew, but in its widest sense, is a multifaceted matter which has changed and developed under various circumstances and at different times. I am proud that Kehillah North London, in accord with liberal Jewish principles and practice, seeks to be an inclusive community to which we provide a warm welcome to everybody, Jewish, of another faith, or of no particular religious understanding of the world. It is said that where two Jews gather, there are at least three opinions. And in welcoming Jews to our community, there is no test of levels of Jewish belief or observance, of denomination or politics. The idea of Jewish nationalism, reflected particularly in the late 19th and first half of the 20th centuries by political Zionism, and since 1948 by an association with the State of Israel, has frequently proved controversial in liberal Jewish circles. In a short piece like this, it will be impossible to address all the complexities that underline this controversy, but let me nevertheless address some aspects. It is an irony that both liberal Judaism and political Zionism are both expressions of Jewish identity which began in the 19th century, although both claim to have roots going back to ancient times. Historically, the Jews were a nation with a distinctive religion which they recognized as their raison d'etre. In the Middle Ages, Jews led a relatively separate existence for their own security and well-being, reinforced by Christian theology, which understood the Jews as a pariah people who were somehow responsible for the death of God, coupled with their economic usefulness to Christian monarchs. The emancipation in Europe offered Jews the opportunity to participate in the new modern nation-states. This was largely welcomed by Jews, a number of whom hoped that Judaism might become a universal religion. Forces of traditionalism, conservatism and nationalism, however, led to a different prospect, in which Jews found themselves under suspicion again. In the face of growing anti-Jewish sentiment, later called anti-Semitism, some Jews retained their traditional loyalties, others abandoned Judaism altogether, many placed their faith in modern European civilization, and yet others believed that Jews could only thrive in a nation-state of their own. This is not the time to discuss in detail the early history of political Zionism, but the rise of Nazism and its successful destruction of one-third, some 6 million individuals of European Jewry, led to the foundation of the State of Israel in 1948. This coming Wednesday is Yom Ha'atzmaut, the 72nd anniversary of modern Israel's independence. There is much to celebrate, including the absorption of millions of Jews who were the victims of anti-Semitism, the revival of the Hebrew language and the burgeoning of Judaic studies, and the significant achievements of its citizens of both Jewish background and a Palestinian identity, who make up some 20% of Israel's more than 8 million population. The State of Israel also has significant challenges. The absence of a peace treaty with its Palestinian neighbours, and the occupation of land that belongs to others, is perhaps the greatest area of discomfort for liberal Jews. But the traditional stranglehold on issues of Jewish status, marriage and burial perversely makes Israel one of the few democracies in the world where liberal Judaism faces official discrimination. With Yom Ha'atzmaut this week, it is legitimate to ask whether liberal Judaism is compatible with traditional mainstream liberal Zionism. The answer I suggest is yes, and if. If an expression of liberal Zionism committed itself to creating a just society in accord with the demands of the Hebrew prophets, in which the state offered equal treatment to all expressions of Judaism, to fostering a partnership between the Jewish community of Israel and those Jews who live elsewhere in the world, and to building a mutually beneficial relationship with the newly established state of Palestine, then it might well be the case that the work of Jews around the world and the work of Jews inside Israel would together offer a Jewish influence which might indeed serve as Isaiah foresaw, as a light to the nations, a liberal Jewish objective too. Shavuot Tov, have a good week, and keep safe.